Years ago, in a remote village deep in the Russian countryside, a quiet yet powerful story unfolded, one that reveals the invisible bond between humans and nature. It's the tale of 4 tiny wolf pups and the elderly woman who one day reached out her hand to help them. Her name was Maria. Maria had never left that village. She was born there, raised among simple fields and forest paths, sharing a modest childhood with her mother and father. When she came of age, she married Ivan, a quiet, honest man. Their bond was deep and sincere. Before long, they had a daughter whom they named Sophia. For many years, this small family of 3 lived peacefully, surrounded by the rhythms of nature, love, and serenity. Time passed quickly. Little Sophia grew up, charted her own path, fell in love, and married the man she adored. Her new life would unfold closer to the city center. Her husband worked in finance, and the city was a necessity. Maria and Ivan were happy for their daughter, always supportive, even though they felt the sting of her absence. They put on brave faces, not wanting Sophia to worry. But time has a way of placing sorrow beside joy. One day, Ivan became gravely ill. Despite a long and hopeful treatment, he did not recover. After 40 years of companionship, he slipped away quietly, leaving behind a void that words could not fill. Maria was now alone. Sophia begged her to move in. "You don't have to be by yourself. Let us take care of you," she said. But Maria's connection to her village and to the life she had built with Ivan ran too deep. She gently declined. Her heart simply wouldn't allow a new beginning elsewhere. Still, Maria was not without love. In her youth, she had worked as a teacher in the village school, cherished by students and families alike. Her kindness lingered like a warm breeze, even after all those years. One of her former students, Dmitri, was now a grown man. Whenever he could, he would stop by, fix broken windows, mend creaky doors, always there for Maria. A skilled hunter as well, he often brought back wild game and left a portion for her. One day, Maria noticed the fence around her garden had finally given out. She asked Dmitri for help. He agreed, as always, but this time there was a spark of excitement in his voice. "I've got a little surprise for you," he said. When he arrived, he was cradling something in his arms, 4 tiny pups. He had found them alone in the forest, with no sign of their mother. He explained that he wanted to keep them, but his 2 dogs at home wouldn't accept them. After the initial shock, Maria agreed to take the pups in. She'd been thinking of getting a dog anyway. Now, not only could she ease her loneliness, but she'd be giving these orphaned creatures a chance at life. She brought them inside, dug out the old feeding bowls once used for Sophia's childhood dog, and filled them with canned meat. The pups, trembling with hunger, devoured every bite and fixed their eyes on Maria. They wanted more. She was surprised. "Do puppies eat this much?" But then she smiled. Those innocent eyes had already found a place in her heart. After their bellies were full, she laid out old blankets on the floor. That night, 4 tiny souls fell asleep in warmth and peace, in a home they hadn't known just hours before. Later that evening, as the pups slept soundly, Maria stepped outside to thank Dmitri, who was still working on the fence. There was a smile on her face, one that hadn't appeared in a long time. But there was something Maria didn't know. Dmitri had never told her the truth. These weren't dog puppies. They were wolf pups. He hesitated, torn by guilt, but in the end, said nothing. Maria looked so happy. When the fence was done, she handed him a bag of sweets for his children. "Good night," he said with a gentle grin and walked away. Inside, the little wolves had already woken up and turned the house upside down. But Maria didn't mind. There was a liveliness she hadn't felt in years. As she cleaned up, she looked at them and smiled again. They were family now. She named them Teddy, Rascal, Storm, and Mischief. Days turned into weeks, and the pups began to grow. Fast. Maria started to notice things. Their bodies were large and muscular, their teeth unusually sharp. There was a wildness in their eyes, a freedom in their movements. Even the village dogs sensed it. They growled, bared their teeth uneasy and on edge whenever the wolves passed. Maria's suspicions grew silently, until one day the truth came crashing in. A hunter passing through saw the 4 animals playing in the garden. Without hesitation, he raised his rifle. Maria dashed outside and stood in front of them. "What are you doing?" she demanded. "They're not dogs," he said flatly. "They're wolves." There was a moment of stillness. Maria's eyes widened. But there was no fear in them, only surprise. Her heart, however, remained calm. These creatures had never hurt her. They had only ever brought companionship and warmth. For a whole year, Maria and the wolves lived in harmony. The bond between them only grew stronger. The wolves became more than pets. They were protectors. At night, they would patrol around the house, watching over her. On cold autumn evenings, while the wind lashed at the trees outside, inside the fire crackled, and Maria would fall asleep to the steady breath of her 4 silent guardians. But one night, that peace was shattered. There was a knock at the door. Maria approached quietly and opened it slightly. 3 strange men stood outside. One of them suddenly raised a gun. "Give us everything, money, jewels, whatever you have." They forced their way in, but then 4 low growls cut through the silence like thunder. The intruders froze. Before them stood not just animals, but 4 wild, loyal wolves with eyes that glinted with warning. The noise woke them instantly. Their ears perked up, eyes locked on the danger. Maria's frightened voice ignited their instincts. Rascal, Storm, and Mischief lunged forward, sinking their teeth into the attackers' legs. The men stumbled and fell. Teddy, silent and focused, stepped in front of Maria, shielding her with his body. Maria ran to her room trembling and dialed the police. Just as she ended the call, a gunshot echoed. Then, a heartbreaking whimper, she rushed back to the living room. Teddy was on the ground, blood pooling beneath him. He had taken a bullet to his hind leg, fired by one of the intruders who had grabbed the gun from the floor. Panic took over. The men tried to flee, but as they stepped outside, flashing red and blue lights greeted them. Police had already surrounded the house. The intruders were arrested on the spot. Inside, Maria's heart pounded. She had only one thought: Teddy, was he breathing? She rushed to him, cradling his body. The bullet had struck a soft part of his leg. With the vet's help, he would make a full recovery in a few weeks. News of the wolves' bravery spread quickly through the village. Even the newspapers ran the story. But to Maria, none of the praise mattered. She had never called them wild. She had raised them with love, and they were loyal, and more than anything, they were family. If you were in Maria's place, would you have taken in those pups, not knowing they were wolves? And what would you do when the truth came out? These stories show us that loyalty and love often come from the most unexpected places. Share your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. And if these stories touch your heart too, join our growing community. Because what we tell here isn't just a story, it's a feeling.